Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome back to the reset. So officially, finale has come across, it has happened, and well, I unfortunately already kind of spoiled it. So I was gonna say if you wanted to watch finale, I would recommend not watching this, but then again, there's already a scene there. So of course, finale has happened, the Traveler has technically left. It left the atmosphere, I think, but it's still up there somewhere. But, you know, that's how it goes. If you wish to leave the video for sake of spoilers, want to find out yourself, no problem with that. I know I already spoiled it, but I won't spoil other things that happen with the finale. Just know it bridges Lightfall perfectly. So, aside from that, into everything, so you do get an update. Like I said, finale is active. The finale mission, as well, is available in the playlist right here. Replayable after you finish it, in case you wish to run it again, or if anyone else needs to run it, that sort of thing. I don't know if there's any special rewards or triumphs from it, but it is capable to be run again. And a weird offshoot of Seraph Shield, essentially. But then into the rest of the world. So currently, Nightfall is the Glassway, which is oof. Big oof, because the Glassway is I would say, easy to almost the hardest Nightfall in comparison. The boss battle is chaotic, hectic, and in terms of the modifiers, Arachno for Fallen Vandal spawning web mines, Overload and Barrier champions facing Fallen and Vex champions. Then you also have Chaff for no radar, Grandmaster modifiers as the usual for match game for elemental shields, equipment lock, extinguish, limited revives, mob champions in all three shield types. But then also, it is double rewards currently. So yeah, this would be the week to farm out Ascendant Shards, Adept Weaponry, Exotics. This is the week to farm things from the Nightfall, but it is also on the hardest one. Because the boss fight is where it's make or break in terms of Grandmasters, but of course, Acute Void Burn, and almost every problematic enemy in the final boss arena, Overload Minotaurs, Wyverns, the boss itself, all deal void damage, and this will hurt. I will warn you, it will hurt. But if you actually do it, the current weapon is DFA, which means currently Adept DFA is up for, I think, possibly the last time. I forget what guns are being rotated out always because it's so many weeks between when I hear them, but you know, there's something that's leaving. This is the last chance you're going to get DFA if it's either rotated out or until GMs for next season, so if you want to get your hands on it, get it now while you can. Aside from that, nothing new in Gambit per usual. Crucible currently. Crucible Labs still going on. Rotation is Mayhem currently, in case you wanted to just grind out, what's it called, Crucible ranks, and didn't want to do it in a standard mode. But then, like I said, Crucible Labs Trials will be returning to us with the weekend as usual. Probably no more boosters for that, but you know, last 2 weekends of Trials before Lightfall comes and hopefully gets a variety of gear. Then, into the rest of the world. For our rotations, currently, the Raid and Dungeon rotation is currently back to the beginning, so it is currently the Shattered Throne and the Dreaming City, both currently farmable, both rewarding a pinnacle drop at the end for doing it. But, of course, I don't know if that means that it will reset once Lightfall launches and it will be the Dreaming City again, because I hope it doesn't, just because then in the early season we'll have other decently farmable stuff. But aside from that, speaking of raids, our current King's Fall, which will, by the way, once the Lightfall raid launches, this will no longer be dropping Pinnacle, and it will enter the rotation, at least that's what's expected. But at the same time, current challenge is Devious Thievery, which I think is War Priest Challenge, and currently Master Mode is Discipline Focused Armor for Master Mode King's Fall. And also another warning, once King's Fall is no longer the pinnacle one, air quotes, or the primary one for the year, Master Mode will not be accessible until the raid rotation comes back around to King's Fall. That's when Master Mode's available, that's when it's permanently farmable, all challenges active, that sort of thing, just as a heads up. Then, going into the Throne World for Vow of the Disciple, current challenge is Looping Catalyst, which is Rolk Challenge, a really easy one. Basically, just don't lose the modifier. What's the word? I forget the word. Just don't lose the buff. Leeching. Don't lose the leeching buff at Rolk. If it resets, you have problems. Then, while we're still in the Throne World, weekly mission currently is the Cunning, which is the one where you go into the very far deep, the Ahamkara fight, that one Scorn Raider boss, you know, that one where everything goes poison. And while we're on the topic of challenges, checking the rest of the raid challenges. Now, I'm going to try and remember to keep doing this, but for Deepstone Crypt is currently 8-Tracks Challenge, copies of copies, where you cannot delete any of the 8-Tracks clones. If you do the Thunder Crash way and one-phase it, it's manageable. You just have to have the operator actually remember to shoot off the orbs every now and again. Just got to pick them back up. Then, as well, for the moon, this is another one that I always forget, but the challenge currently for Garden of Salvation is 0 to 100. Actually, no, I do know that one. That is the final boss, Sanctified Mine Challenge, where you have to fill the moat deposits to max within, like, 30 seconds of the first deposit. Something like that. There are some weird ways you can do it, but it sounds annoying, but is manageable. And, like I mentioned before, for the Dreamy City and Last Wish, all challenges are active for Last Wish. The one I was forgetting is Vault of Glass. I don't know why I talked about Dream City again, but it's currently Out of Its Way challenge, which, if I recall, is Gatekeeper challenge, which means... No, that's Strangers in Time. I think Out of Its Way is Conflux challenge, where it's basically you cannot kill the wyverns until they are sacrificing, I think it is. I forget, though. It's been ages since I talked about those challenges. So, in terms of the Helm rotations, now, of course, going from left to right, Catch Crash currently on rotation is Skiffix, which I believe is also guaranteed to be the one with the elemental rotating shields and lots of trip lines. The legendary Psyops Battleground Arena is currently the Moon, and the legendary Heist Battlegrounds Arena is currently in the Hellas Basin on Mars. So, there is that. And speaking of seasonal stuff, I think I mentioned this last week, but currently we have no more new challenges for Season of the Seraph. Once we reach rank 10, there is no more, so unfortunately for the last 2 weeks, we will not have any more additional challenges for XP or Bright Dust. So if you wish to get larger quantities, I'd recommend going back through and finishing random challenges that you just haven't yet. Then, lastly, in terms of the random world into Eternity, what the Dares of Eternity Legend mode rotation is Cabal, Taken, and Crota for the Legend modifiers. Now, that is pretty much everything. Now, they did mention as well when I logged in that the Eververse has 30th anniversary stuff added back into it. But not gonna lie, I did some looking. While there is a front page tab that gives you access to some of the stuff there, from the sound of it, the loot was back until the end of the season, or added, but I didn't see anything there. So that's a bit of a mess in case you were excited about that. There's possibly just some stuff, not all of it. But then going into Banshee to wrap up our resets. So we have Crate, a stasis rapid-fire Viced auto rifle. Subsistence Headstone, I would honestly recommend something like this if you're looking for a kind of stasis milled build. Obviously, Subsistence for the auto reloads, Headstone because stasis crystals, that will always benefit a stasis build in some way, along the lines of Incandescent, and Volt Shot. But decent enough perks, otherwise, Vice Stinger, it is getting nerfed soon, but it will still hopefully be good in terms of primaries. Then Lunalada 4B, which is a decent stasis bow. I would honestly recommend this one to Headstone as well. Some weird perks, I will admit, and lightweight does mean it's a little bit faster, but less damaging. But this one is still a very good feeling bow, and this one will get faster draw speed when the perk Vice Stinger is active specifically in terms of difference, because it only has 1 round, can auto-reload 1 round. Then we also have Snorri FR5, a Amalon precision frame fusion rifle. Now rolls like this is pretty good off the bat, heating up for recoil control, reservoir burst for the PvE crowds, but at the same time, I might recommend, in case you wanted something like this, if there was subsistence reservoir burst, that would be something to go for, because then every one of your shots, until you don't have enough to reload, would be a reservoir burst round. Aside from that, I would honestly kind of recommend this one. Amalon does do a decent enough perk in terms of keeping this thing restrained. Then we also have Galu RR3, sniper rifle, arc, Amalon as well. Adaptive frame sniper, so it's, good in most places, mainly Crucible based, especially this role. Although it does have PvE and Crucible based ideals, there is, of course, a variety and personal preference for all of them. Then we also have Typhon GL5, which, going back to my chill clip video, this is the other example of a stasis grenade launcher that would work together. So, chill clip, detonates on direct hits, will slow targets, proximity grenades. This one, do not buy unless you're okay with the high velocity rounds, and the launches are not great either. But if you wanted the impulse amplifier chill clip roll, you would have to get something that isn't these perks if you don't like those. If you wanted spikes, or I don't think it can roll blinding, I think that's just Wendigo. But, spikes is what main people are going to recommend. Sadly, not craftable though. Then we also have Type N 4FR, which this roll, ignore it. This one is a very good weapon for the next 2 weeks, possibly still good. It's about to be reined in, so probably won't be Damage King, but probably will still be decent enough choice. Comes soon, but then at the same time, craftable. So if you want to get this thing up to shape before it gets nerfed, I would recommend doing that with a crafted version as opposed to the normal version. But, like we know with the state of the game, come to Lightfall, crafted versus random rolls are actually going to be equally alongside each other, if you have seen my state of the game video. But, with that note, that has been the reset. 2 weeks to go till Lightfall. Happy Valentine's Day, in case you are celebrating that with your significant other, or boo Valentine's Day, in case you're like me, and just don't really have somebody to celebrate it with currently. And on that note, I will see you in the next video.